Hi, I'm Suzanne Bailey, and I am privileged today to be here with Casey Howell. Casey and her husband Scott are the owners of CPR Sarasota. CPR Sarasota is located on Weber Street in the shopping center where Solarzano Pizza is, and I know most of you probably have been there and know where that is. So let me introduce you today to Casey Howell.
Hi.
Casey, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So Casey, tell us a little bit about your background.
I am a nurse. I'm emergency trauma resuscitation. I work here locally at our level 2 trauma center. I'm coming into my 17th year of nursing. And this has been my entire adult career. This is my niche of healthcare, is emergency medicine and critical care.
Yeah. Well, I think that when you found that place, it brings you a lot of joy, I would think. Otherwise, you and your husband would not have set this business up or taken over this business.
Right.
Because you bring a lot of information to the general public. So if they are in a situation that someone they love or a friend or even a stranger needs their help, they're going to be able to assist them.
Right, that's our goal. We want to spread as much education for preparedness for emergencies as possible.
Yeah. So if someone that's watching is interested in learning from you, tell them how they should contact you or what your schedule is like.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Sure. So like you said, we're on the corner of Weber and Beneva, and we have an office here where we host classes. So we host a lot of BLS or basic life support, which is open to healthcare workers and the general public. And it's a really good, solid foundational class that covers CPR across the lifespan, AEDs, automated external defibrillators, choking maneuvers, and some team dynamics and things like that on how to respond in the event of an emergency. So our website, you can find our class schedule there, and you can book directly online at cprsarasota.com. You can also call or text us at 941-999-1CPR, and we'll be happy to help you register as well.
So that's just an individual.
Yeah.
But you also will go to companies or even like a condo association.
Sure. We'll come to a private residence if you'd like to host a class for your, closest friend group. That's fine.
Yeah, like a neighborhood thing.
Yeah. So then call or email us, reach out through the website, and we'll be happy to set that up for private group classes as well.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah. We may do that for my neighborhood.
Oh, good. Perfect.
So do you also just do demonstrations for people? I mean, in the public?
Sure.
Yeah.
So that kind of depends on the venue and the event, but country clubs or neighborhood associations will have us come out and do kind of a larger scale, more of a demonstration style, with just some basic stuff, and go through like hands-only CPR. So when we're dealing with kind of a larger community event, and then we additionally do formal certification courses, which are a little bit more in depth and take longer, and then we have smaller class sizes to get that one-on-one experience with the instructors.
So you've got the education and experience where you actually train other healthcare workers.
I do. I teach some classes like trauma nursing core courses and emergency nursing pediatric courses where nurses primarily are taking a educational role and teaching other nurses how to execute those trauma nursing and emergency nursing skills.
So it's obvious that you know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing.
I try. I want to stay well informed.
You probably get continuing education.
All the time, sure. Yeah.
But I think right here we're more just talking to the general public. Mm-hmm. Some of you that may be interested in taking a class or just learning a little bit more about it. So can you tell us, what do you recommend is the most important thing that someone like myself should know?
So regardless of whether you've taken a class or not, or you've attended a demonstration, or you've been certified in the past, the thing that we really want to stress the importance of for anyone responding in an emergency is good quality compressions. So good quality compressions during CPR is the #1 priority, which means if you know nothing else or remember nothing else from class, even that high stress, high anxiety moment, push hard and push fast on the chest.
So I've seen on TV.
Yeah.
That's where I learn everything I know about medicine. Or Google.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, Google's good. But do you need to is it only drowning victims that you need to blow air into a person, or is that?
So there's, when we know better, we do better.
Right.
So it's difficult to study resuscitation science, right? It takes a long time because we have to study these events in like naturally occurring episodes. So what's changed the most about resuscitation is rescue breathing over the years,
Right.
where it used to, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation or rescue breathing was a huge cornerstone in resuscitation, whereas we've really pulled back from that a lot, and we're really, really advocating and pushing strongly for good quality compressions, even to the point of hands-only CPR.
Right.
So especially when you're responding to adult strangers, the number one thing that we want to make sure is being executed well is that good quality compressions. And then my number two is actually going to be rapid defibrillation, which is use of those AEDs whenever possible and as quickly as we can. So the emphasis on rescue breathing is really a little farther back down on the priority list.
Yeah, I just wondered if on the occasion happened that I would need that, I did compressions, not necessarily breathing for them or breathing air into their chest.
For most people, most of the time, it's the compressions.
Yeah. And it's different, of course, depending on the
age, circumstance, length of time till rescue help arrives. All of those things do kind of factor in, of course, but to do the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people, we really are focusing on those good quality compressions.
But a child, you would not, do you still do as strong as you can, or?
Well, not as strong as you can if we're talking about little children, but we still do need to do good quality compressions to the extent of 1/3 of their chest depth, which still seems like a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
It does.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting because, again, for my TV education, as being a doctor or nurse, the ribs get broken sometimes because is that necessary? Do you need to press that hard? Or?
So here's my golden rule, what I tell everybody in my classes, that you are never going to hurt someone more than dead.
Oh, I understand.
They have to survive to complain about the rib pain later. So sometimes it will happen.
Yeah.
There are potentially negative side effects and injuries that are minor in comparison to the overall scenario, but that's not uncommon, and it should not be a deterrent.
No, I wasn't thinking of it as a deterrent. I was just wondering if it was necessary to actually push that hard.
Depends on the person and the age and so on and so forth. So it's not the goal, but it happens a lot. But it can be a deterrent, because people, it's disturbing, and that people are afraid. They don't want to hurt people. But good quality compressions. So for adults and adolescents, I need a minimum of 2 inches of depth into the chest cavity. Yeah. That's 2 inches isn't a big number, but it feels like a lot. It seems like a lot when you're doing CPR.
I bet it does.
Yeah.
You're going, yeah. So anybody can do it. I mean,
anybody can do it.
Yeah. And the other thing I think is pretty common is learning how to help a choking victim.
Yeah.
Do you teach those kind of classes?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we teach choking maneuvers in our basic and advanced life support classes.
So yes, so that's something that goes along with your CPR class.
Yes.
Any other types of life-saving?
We do talk about rescue injectors, specifically naloxone or Narcan auto-injectors, which can be used for opioid-associated life-threatening emergencies. And then in some of our courses, we also teach a first aid component that goes with the CPR, and then we talk about rescue injectors like epinephrine or EpiPens for severe allergic reaction. And then the first aid course also covers early recognition of potentially life-threatening illnesses and ailments, and wound care and splinting and all the cuts and scrapes and boo-boos that you think about when you think about first aid. Yeah.
Oh, so it's kind of important now that you mention it. if I'm with someone and they start to be in distress, knowing what
your priorities are
and what kind of distress they're in too. Sure. I think so. If someone has a heart attack, for instance, that's where the CPR would come in.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So there's varying severity of the heart attack itself. So whereas some people experience chest pain or some shortness of breath or some symptoms that give them signs that they're having a heart attack, and that might continue on for a while and they stay relatively stable, right, till they get to the hospital and they can get that intervened upon. Some people will begin to have a heart attack, and if the right vessel and it's a large enough occlusion, that can progress into a very, very dangerous situation very quickly, and they can go into cardiac arrest.
So you do.
And at that point, we would start CPR.
Yeah. What other situations would a couple find a husband and wife that are older find themselves in where one or the other one might need to do some kind of life-saving?
Sure. So this is, again, widely variable, but the choking maneuvers is really important.
Yeah.
So that's something that we all need to be educated about how to perform those, because those are very common, especially with our very young population and our older population, or those that are at risk that have had a stroke in the past or have dysphagia or difficulty swallowing. So, and that's often mealtime associated. So that's definitely something that I want my partner in my home to know how to help me when we sit down for dinner. So that's definitely a really good maneuver to make sure everybody feels confident to execute. And then when we talk about CPR, so CPR accompanies cardiac arrest, or when the heart stops pumping efficiently enough on its own to push the blood around the body, which can be the result of a heart attack or an electrical disturbance in the heart or an overdose or a severe stroke. Or so the cause of the cardiac arrest can vary widely, but it's really about whether or not can you feel a pulse.
Yeah.
And if you can't,
that's when
we need to start compressions.
Yeah. One more question about the choking.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm a relatively small person, am I still able to have enough strength to help someone that is choking?
The simple answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes. So when we talk about choking maneuvers, first of all, any help, right? The best you can do is the best you can do, and I want to do my best to help anybody in that scenario. But there are ways that we can modify choking maneuvers when we're talking about someone who's much, much taller than you, or much bigger, stronger. There are ways that we can modify those techniques to make it more amenable for a person who is shorter or smaller or not as strong as the other person, and we can assist them to perform choking maneuvers even on themselves.
So back to the, I'm moving around, I know.
It's okay.
But I think about things you've said and I go back and I want to ask this question. So for instance, the pins, for instance, in the Narcan or the epinephrine and all that, I'm assuming that the individual, I wouldn't carry those around in my purse, would I?
If you have a severe allergic reaction to something that you're going to go
into anaphylaxis,
I hope you would.
Yeah. No,
but for yourself. Yeah. But no, you're not going to be carrying an EpiPen for a stranger. I need a prescription to get that. However, anyone and everyone can have a Narcan or naloxone auto-injector.
Yeah.
So there is the potential to have something like that available to you to use on anyone else.
Yeah. Well, if you feel like Superman and you want to save everybody, that's probably not a bad idea, right?
Or if you work with a population that's high risk, or
you have a family member.
If you have a family member that's even somebody who's on like a pain management type of medication for a chronic condition, even those who are using prescription medication exactly as prescribed, anytime you're using an opiate-based medication for any reason whatsoever, there's always a risk associated. So being able to respond to them in an emergency is, very, very helpful.
So what would you use Narcan for?
Opioid-associated life-threatening emergencies.
Just opioids?
Just opioids.
Heroin, what does it work for?
Heroin, morphine, Dilaudid, fentanyl.
Yeah. Well, I have all of those at home and
I'm sure.
I better get a 10.
Yeah.
So I think we have a visitor with us today.
Oh, Henry.
Henry.
You want to meet Henry?
Yes, well, y'all want to meet Henry?
We'll do some demonstration compressions here on Henry.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now I'll do some demonstration compressions. Do you want to try to do something?
Well, you show me first.
Okay, absolutely. All right, so here's our mannequin here. I'm going to undress him, expose his chest. Now, if this were a scenario that I wanted to respond in an emergency, my first steps would be to try to solicit a response, see if he's awake. Hey, you okay? This is your tap and shout, right?
Yeah.
And if I don't get a response, I want to feel for a pulse.
Okay.
Right, so 2 fingers either side of the neck here. Get that nice big blood vessel there. I can't feel for a pulse, I don't feel breathing, then I want to activate my emergency response system. So in this case, that would be me calling to you and saying, Suzanne, call 911. I'm going to start compressions.
Right, that's the first thing.
Yes, get help, right? Always make sure it's safe to approach the person, all right? And then once I approach him, don't get a response, feel for a pulse, activate emergency response, and then that's when I want to start those good quality compressions. So I'm going to turn Henry on here.
Wow, you do go down.
Yeah. So for adults and adolescents, we want to use 2 hands. We're going to overlap and we're looking for about the center of the breastbone. Our hands are going to lay over the lower half there. Lock those elbows nice and strong.
Okay.
All right. And then we're going to push hard and fast, at least 2 inches and 100 to 120 beats per minute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where all the American Heart Association videos sync their training stuff to the Bee Gees, right?
Yeah.
Staying alive, staying alive. It's apropos and easy to remember.
Let me try.
Yeah, please do. Now there's a stool over here so that you're tall enough on the table. So
Okay.
don't trip over it.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to put a hand here,
Mhm.
and I'm going to put a hand here.
Get the heel of the hand right in the middle. There you go.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And then
Lock those elbows. Okay, slow down just a little bit. Staying alive, staying alive.
yeah. So as long as I hear the beep, then I'm doing
Well, Henry here will beep for you. Humans are gonna beep.
No,
So
I
that's
mean,
why we're
I
trying
mean-
to, yeah, that's 100 to 120.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I beep, but I don't know what it is.
It'd be helpful if we beeped.
Yeah. You're doing good. Yeah, we'll have to talk to Amazon about that. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So I actually think I might sign up for one of your.
Please do.
Is it Tuesday or Mondays that you?
We do. It moves around a little bit, but we typically have at least a Tuesday evening class around 5:30 and a Friday morning around 10:30, and then every other Saturday, and then a lot of times we have another one during the week as well. But at least 2
depending
to
on the
3.
demand or whatever. Yes. I know.
Depending on availability with instructors and the demands, yeah.
Well, I think it's we have another one over here. Y'all can't see it. It's a full size that we couldn't use, obviously, but all of them give you feedback.
They do. So all of the mannequins have audio and visual feedback mechanisms built in, so that way you are able to tell when you are hitting that appropriate depth and rate.
Yeah, that to me is very important because I would not have had any idea that you go down as low, but I could see it when you were doing it.
That's why we say push hard and fast.
Yeah.
It's harder than you think it is.
Would you like to volunteer for me to do it on you?
Oh, if I don't have a pulse, I absolutely would love for you to do compressions on me.
Well, this has been fun. I mean,
Good.
very informative, but fun.
Yeah, as fun as scary, life-threatening things, but yeah.
Well, of course, I don't mean.
No, we want to keep a casual, fun learning environment.
Well, I know, because that way these people aren't going to have fun, aren't going to want to do it. Well, I do hope that this was helpful to y'all, and give her or call, go online, visit the website if you think that this is something you would be interested in learning how to do, because you never know when you may save a life, right?
That's right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And if you'd like me to save your real estate, just give me a call at 850-726-0848. I am a realtor with Coldwell Banker Realty in Sarasota, Florida, and I believe I have a lot of life-saving tips for you to sell your home or buy your home. So thank you. Bye.